Turo Kokone, a boy whose dark past haunts him now and then, attends the entrance ceremony of Kuryu Academy. This school is precisely for students who have Blaze, a soul's power to materialize a weapon. Toru is awestruck by a white-headed exotic beauty, Julie Sigtuna, till a bubbly Imari Nagakura interrupts his trance-like state, who informs Toru that she's also attending the ceremony. Just when the possibility of friendship starts brewing between the two, they're ordered to duel one another as an aptitude test. The person who loses will be asked to leave the premises of the academy. Adhering to the requirements, Imari and Toru fall into combat. Imari launches her blaze and announces that she won't miss a hit on Toru, but misses thrice. Being the generic good guy he is, Toru decides to throw in the towel, allowing Imari to have the win. Suddenly, a sword comes flying towards the two, making Toru unleash his irregular blades. Imari, insistent on not having an easy win, makes a final strike towards Toru, which he answers by launching a special but dangerous move that puts an end to Imari's pursuit of defeating Toru. During his first class, Toru is sitting beside Julie, who eyeballs him until her homeroom teacher, Rito Tsukimi, makes a grand appearance. Rito has rightfully done justice to the word kawaii with her bunny ears and happy-go-lucky attitude. She announces that the academy will use a special duo system where the students are expected to work and live in pairs. Toru ends up being temporarily partnered up with Julie, who has taken a liking towards him. It didn't take long for our boy Toru to sleep with Julie, innuendo indeed. Toru and Julie are joined by Tomoe and Miyabi, whose bosoms portray more personality than her character. Misunderstandings take place between Tomoe and Toru after Julie naively announces that she slept with Toru, unknowingly building a wrong impression of Toru. Tomoe dubs Toru as a pervert, and rumors of Toru and Julie's relationship reach everyone's ears. Toru sheepishly informs Julie that sleeping together has more than one meaning. During the training session, Julie clears the doubts in Tomoe's mind regarding Toru. Tomoe kneels in front of Toru, apologizing profusely, unwittingly sparking more rumors about Toru's character. The moderate high point of this episode finally arrives as Julie and Tomoe fall into combat position, each flaunting their battle skills. The day arrives when the students are expected to pick a duo. Toru asks his longtime pal, Torasaki, to duo up with him. And just when they're about to recite the oath which will legitimize their status as duos, Toru notices Tomoe and Miyabi making their way towards him. Upon noticing Julie's absence, Toru inquires Tomoe why she's with Miyabi when she was supposed to pair with Julie. Apologetically, Tomoe informs Toru that she turned Julie down as she wanted to partner up with Miyabi. Torasaki passes an understanding nod to Toru, and Toru frantically rushes to find Julie. Toru spots Julie at the top of a clock tower where they both share an intimate moment. Hand in hand, Toru and Julie recite the oath, making their partnership official. After the duos have been made official, Rito Tsukimi notifies her students about the upcoming Blaze battle, giving the students time to sharpen their battle skills. Toru and Julie are seen breaking sweat during their intense training session. Later at the stadium, Toru finds Miyabi's bone dried from running with her massive bosom. She suddenly collapses and is picked up by Toru, the knight in school uniform. Regaining her consciousness, Miyabi is encouraged by Toru to keep building her strength. The moment of action finally begins in the late afternoon. The duos have 2 hours to eliminate other duos. Toru and Julie defeat the other duos, and right until they finally have a face-off with Tomoe and Miyabi. Tomoe's back must hurt from carrying the entire fight alone, as Miyabi is briskly taken down by Toru. In the meantime, Julie overpowers Tomoe and welcomes defeat like a good fighter. This episode takes an interesting turn when Toru and Julie notice Torasaki and his partner on the verge of unconsciousness. Rito sneaks up on Toru and Julie, feigning innocence until Torasaki mumbles that it's a trap and Rito is the reason for their state. With a wicked smile, Rito explains she must eliminate the weaker links. Taunted by Rito for being weak, Toru has a flashback from his past, which fills him with determination to take Rito down. He learns from Rito that the soul of your enemy can be seriously damaged if the blaze is destroyed. Toru uses this information to his advantage and destroys Rito's blaze, coming out of the battle victorious. The two make their way towards the classroom where everyone's assembled. Torasaki bows down in gratitude once he realizes that Tomoe and Miyabi tended to him and his partner when they were annihilated by Rito. The group is flabbergasted to see Rito back in class, who appears to be back to her usual cute persona. They take the matter to Sakia, who seems unfazed by their complaints. Sakia makes it apparent that she doesn't care about the unorthodox teaching methods Rito adopts as long as it leads to creating proficient duos. Bummed by the verdict of their headmaster, the group returns to the classroom when a blonde girl comes waltzing into the classroom. She introduces herself as Lilith Bristol, a transfer student from England who demands Toru for a private meeting. Todo learns that Lilith possesses an irregular blaze. She bosses Todo around and orders him to duo with her, but faces swift rejection from Todo. We get a view of the city when Todo and Julie are out shopping, with Tomoe and Miyabi suspiciously lurking behind them. Trouble approaches Tomoe and Miyabi in the form of delinquent boys who harass the girls until Todo rushes to their aid, but before he could make his move, Lilith appears out of nowhere, knocking the boys out with her rifle. Todo is bewildered to find out that Lilith's blaze is a rifle. After the blaze battle, Todo and his friends transcend to level 2, which equips them with more durability and strength. Todo's mind has been gripped with questions since Lilith flaunted her unusual blaze. Having the upper hand, Lilith demands Todo to accompany her to Deathland, a theme park, if he wishes to vanquish his curiosity. Lilith, who in the start was portrayed with a superiority complex, is long replaced by an enthusiastic girl who is giddy to explore the theme park with someone who she believes is just like her. She drags Todo to every ride until exhaustion is written all over his face. Night settles in and Lilith finally tells Todo about her blaze. Since she was a little girl, Lilith was fond of guns. She smiles at the memory of a younger Lilith playing with guns. Fireworks surround the two as Lilith says that once she found out about Todo's irregular blaze, she knew he would be compatible with her. Lilith extends a hand towards Todo and asks him to be her duo once more. It's past the Academy's curfew when Todo returns. Julie sneaks him in and Todo apologizes for coming back so late. Todo tells Juliet that he turned down Lilith, earning a slap from her. Julie thanks Todo for choosing her and gives him an intimate hug. The next day, Rito announces that the first-year students will battle the second-year students. Lilith comes forth to combat the entire class of students on her own, with the trusted rifle by her side. Completely overpowering the entire batch, Lilith eagerly awaits a showdown with Todo. When Todo finally faces Lilith, he sincerely apologizes for turning her down twice and expects Lilith to fight him with her maximum potential. Lilith takes on Todo's entire group without losing breath or breaking into a sweat. Continuous wins have made Lilith a little bit cocky, which Todo and Julie set to use to their advantage by luring her into an elaborate trap. There is a sudden shift of events when Todo is hit by a real bullet. Men armed to the teeth encircle Lilith, Todo, and his companions. The blonde foreman discloses that they're here for Lilith. The group immediately has their guards up as they jump back into combat position, but before they can do anything, Miyabi is captured by the blonde in charge. Lilith orders everyone to step back as she agrees to go with the armed men. Like a damsel in distress, Miyabi starts to cry. She is consoled by Todo, who assures her that she will soon greet Lilith with open arms and a big smile. After recollecting himself, Todo rushes to rescue Lilith. He summons his entire strength and destroys the bridge, saving Lilith from her captors. The blonde man rises from the rubble and talks to a mysterious man on call, who seems to be searching for the Blaze Diabolical. After wreaking havoc, Todo is wrapped up in bandages, surrounded by his friends, when suddenly a love-struck Lilith declares that she will marry Todo. The students of Koryo Academy are on a ship, making their way to an island for camping. Rito, their demonic teacher in bunny ears, declares that students are going to reach the island by swimming. As Julie can't swim, Todo carries her on his back. On the way, Lilith makes her grand appearance by jumping from her helicopter and into the sea. She swims towards Todo, getting dangerously close to him. Julie is bothered by her closeness with Todo, as she tells Lilith to back off. After their taxing swim, they finally reach the island where they're attacked by kunai. In minutes, the trio is surrounded by veiled attackers. But it's not just Todo, Lilith, and Julie that have been attacked. Tomoe and Miyabi are seen fighting the same group of people. When Todo is cornered, Miyabi is filled with flashbacks of her time with Todo, which helps her gain the confidence to take on her attackers. She swings her blaze and overthrows her enemies, saving Tomoe in the process. On the other hand, Julie and Lilith sync their skills to fight together. As Todo's about to land a punch on one of the attackers, her veil comes undone and a familiar face greets him. It's Imari. She tells Todo that those who couldn't make it through the screening process were offered a place in another branch of Koryo Academy, and this attack was a part of their combined training. The episode ends on a peculiar note when the blondie from the last episode is seen conversing with a mysterious old man. Todo wakes up in a tent with Julie and Lilith wrapped around his body. At least one of us has one. This episode takes a break from the usual training sessions depicted in earlier episodes. Todo's life takes a very saucy turn when Miyabi invites him to hang out with the girls on the beach. You guessed it, melons of all shapes and sizes are given proper screen time. Julie and Lilith spend most of their time together trying to solidify their roles in Toru's life. Imari, who seems to be the only one that took note of Miyabi's change in demeanor when Toru is around, encourages her to make a move on Toru. Miyabi finally gets time alone with Toru, and the aesthetics of this sweet and sentimental moment sets in. Miyabi confesses her love for Toru, who's taken aback by her confession. Toru takes a step towards Miyabi when he's suddenly gripped by a traumatic flashback of his past that shifts the wholesome moment into a tragic one. As expected, Toru turns Miyabi down, who is understandably crushed by the rejection, and runs off crying. At the end of the episode, Lilith joins Sakuya for tea. She addresses her as Blaze Diabolica, earning a threat from Sakuya, who appears to despise that name. Returning to the fast pacing and action, this episode is packed with fight scenes that broke out between the rebels and Exceeds. The rebels have an advantage in numbers, and their strength has been revamped. The duo teams managed to hold them off for a while, but it's Professor Bun Bun who ultimately saves the day by unleashing her supreme strength on the rebels. Even though her alter ego is hellish, the lady can kick some ass. Lilith appears alongside Sakuya, who seems to have predicted the attack by the rebels. Suddenly, the blondie from previous episodes breaks through the door and captures Sakuya, aka Blaze Diabolica, despite Lilith, who valiantly threw herself in to save Sakuya. Toru isn't in the limelight as he usually is, but after the attack on Sakuya, he rushes to an injured Lilith, who makes Toru promise to get Sakuya back safely. With Julie by his side, Toru makes his way to save Sakuya, who's on a boat with the blondie. Toru and Julie are doing their best to overthrow Blondie, but his attacks are way too powerful. We get a glimpse of Julie's backstory, where a young, distraught Julie is in the snow, with her father dead at her side. As Blondie is about to land a fatal blow on Toru, Julie rises with overwhelming power surrounding her. She runs towards Blondie with the speed of light, giving him a beating of a lifetime. Blondie once again gets a call from the same mysterious caller asking him to retreat. As he's leaving, he reveals his name as Kei, and a promise of a reunion. Toru and his friends are searching for Miyabi. Rito informs the students that they're leaving the island, leaving no room for discussion. As they're retiring from the island, Imari promises Toru that she'll take on the search for Miyabi from here on out. Rattled by Miyabi's disappearance, Toru is off balance while sparring with Tomoe. On the surface, Tomoe appears to be calm and collected, but she's suffering from Miyabi's absence that later gets noticed by Lilith. Toru is once again haunted by the recurring nightmare of his past. He jolts up, and Julie consoles him by wrapping her arms around him. Headmistress Sakuya summons Toru in her office and offers him to undergo level 4 rite of sublimation as a reward. Toru is hesitant as he believes it was Julie who saved both Toru and Sakuya. Sakuya reminds Toru of his reason to join the academy, which is to attain power, and asks him to sleep on the offer. At the academy's courtyard, level 3 guards are lined up for the Rain Conference. Inquisitively, Toru and Julie ask Lilith about Equipment Smith. Lilith explains that Equipment Smith, or Edward Smith, is one of the prominent members, and the subject of this conference is Absolute Duo. All the members of Rain assemble as the meeting commences, with Edward's petition to join forces with each member of Rain. Insulting his advances, Sakuya infuriates Edward, who challenges Sakuya with a killing game. Miyabi resurfaces, having accepted the malicious power from Equipment Smith that makes her an embodiment of both Rebel and Exceed. She appears to be in a trance-like state, ecstatic to kill everyone in her path, even Toru. As her duo, Tomoe assures her friends to let her tackle Miyabi. In the meantime, Toru and Julie take on Kei, who detests Toru for his determination to protect Julie. There's a deep-rooted trauma for this uncalled hatred. Simultaneously, we see Miyabi and Tomoe fighting each other. Tomoe is hell-bent on pulling Miyabi out of her hypnotic state, despite being bloodied and bruised up. Miyabi claims that Tomoe never really knew the real her. She confesses to her that her desire to become strong is rooted back to give her love for Toru. Tomoe makes a heartfelt declaration on how she always believed in Miyabi's strength. With words of affirmation and a tight slap on Miyabi's face, Tomoe successfully brings back the Miyabi we all know. Picking up the fight sequence of Toru and Julie vs. Kei, we see that Julie has been walloped by Kei, and Toru plunges in to protect Julie as his solemn duty. Overcome by anger and distress, Toru injects the level 4 formula into his system, gaining supreme strength. With brute force, Toru puts Kei to the ground. After tasting defeat in front of the members of the Rain Conference, Edward is humiliated by Sakuya. He comes to viciously scold and beat Kei, who returns the menace by putting his entire hand through Edward's chest, Sasuke style. By Kei taking over the role of a mad villain, the episode ends on a cliffhanger. Without getting so much as a sigh of relief, Toru and Julie are again on battlegrounds with Kei. who returns with upgraded powers and the lust for revenge. The archetypical fight sequence takes place. Kei beats the living taillights out of Julie and Toru. In an attempt to save Julie from Kei's assault, Toru puts his life on the line to cover her, providing Kei with the opportunity to push his weapon inside Toru's guts. With blood spilling, Toru falls to the ground. Julie, upon seeing Toru's delicate state, is overcome by rage and resorts to the dark power within her. Julie battles Kei with the intent to send him off to his grave. With the dark energy surging inside her, she attacks Toru, who shockingly appears to be walking towards Julie. He attempts to calm her with soothing words, not caring that Julie is hitting him in the process. Toru's care for her brings Julie back to her normal state. Kei rises from the ashes again, making his last fatal blow. Toru uses his shield and Julie's sword to finish Kei once and for all. With the dust of the fight settling in, over a cup of tea, Lilith gives Toru the tea on Kei, aka Kevin, who lost his brother and was later sold to Edward. Later that day, Julie reveals the origin of her dark powers to Toru. Unfazed by her revelations, Toru promises Julie that he will always protect her. In the end, they both renew their oaths, which bind them together as duos. And that's the end of the video. As always, if you liked what you saw, subscribe to the channel. I'll be uploading a lot of videos just like this, so I'll see you at the next one.
And I'm pretty sure that you are.